If you actually pay attention to the background of any given movie, chances are you'll catch a glimpse of some sneaky details hidden behind the action. If, like me, you're absolutely oblivious until something is put right in your face, you've probably missed a whole load of Easter eggs and design details that help give the movie universe an authentic feel. But luckily for us, we're not the ones making the movies, and the ones that are actually know what they're doing when it comes to world building. Sometimes it can pay to get a little bit meta, and sometimes films do this by putting a movie inside a movie. There's a whole bunch of classics that do this, but also some people that take it too far, and things can just get downright weird. I mean, in Funny People, I didn't really want to see Adam Sandler's face superimposed onto a baby's body, but clearly that's the direction someone chose to take. All that being said, I'm Amy from What Culture, and let's take a look at the fake films hidden inside your favourite movies. At number 6, we have Scott Pilgrim vs. the World with Lucas Lee's career. Scott Pilgrim is a fast-paced comic book masterpiece. It's filled with references and in-jokes, 99% of which went completely over my head until I watched it for a second time. One of the best examples of this is the appearances of Lucas Lee, Ramona's second evil ex, multiple times before his character is even properly introduced. If you look, you can see early on that Lucas appears in a movie ad on the back of Wallace's newspaper. This is the very same newspaper that he later shows to Scott before turning on the TV at the perfect time to see, yep, you guessed it, a dramatic Lucas Lee monologue. The studio made the decision to push the law a little bit further, and they created a series of movie posters for Lucas Lee films based off of other films popular at the time. Thrilled to Be Here is clearly based on The Fast and the Furious, whilst Let's Hope There's a Heaven looks suspiciously similar to The Last Song and some other generic romance films. Moving swiftly along, coming in at number 5, we have Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Rick Dalton's filmography. Whilst we're on the topic of fake filmographies, Quentin Tarantino, in classic Tarantino style, took things a step or maybe a leap further to create a well-rounded backstory for his washed-up actor character Rick Dalton. They went ahead and made a whole heap of fake film posters based off of old westerns to showcase Rick Dalton's fictional history. From a knockoff Navajo Joe entitled Nebraska Jim, to probably the most well-known of the works, Bounty Law, Tarantino really did cover all bases when trying to make this character as real as possible. Throughout the movie, we see that Dalton collects memorabilia from every film he works on. Now, I love a free poster or mug as much as the next guy, but I think maybe Dalton took it a bit too far when he nicked a whole fully functional flamethrower from the set of 14 Fists of McCluskey, and any film with a name that is that difficult to say may as well get in the fire too. Tarantino has talked about how much he loved building this backlog of films and shows, even revealing in one interview that he has 5 real episodes of Bounty Law written and ready to go. Leo better clear his diary because he's still set to star, of course, as the main man, Jake Carhill. I wonder how much convincing he'd need to take that contract. Next up at number 4, we have the Blues Brothers with See You Next Wednesday. And as much as it does sound like I'm introducing the new album from an up-and-coming indie band, the Blues Brothers is actually one of the most unpredictable and chaotic films of its time. Quite frankly, no one could be blamed for missing a few details in the background amongst all the constant crazy. If you look out during the chase that sees Jake and Elwood fleeing from both the real good old boys and the cops, we catch a glance at a billboard advertising the film See You Next Wednesday. It features a giant gorilla smashing up a city and a credit claiming it stars Donald Sutherland. In fairness, the movie does have potential to be great. We then see another hidden reference to the film later on, as the Nazi Pinto chasing the brothers launches off the highway, flying above the city before crashing down through the road below. On this humble street, the cinema a few feet from the hole left by the crash displays the title proudly outside. As irrelevant as this may seem to some, the See You Next Wednesday references are actually part of a much bigger running gag. Originally appearing in the works of John Landis, responsible for films like Animal House and Trading Places, nods to the trope can now be found in pretty much anything. And I mean anything. I'm talking right from critically acclaimed 2001 A Space Odyssey, right down to Sharknado 5. Not even the first Sharknado, the 5th. Now it's time for everyone's festive childhood favourite. Coming in at number 3, we have Home Alone, with Angels with Filthy Souls. If anyone tells me that their preferred Christmas film is Die Hard over Home Alone, I'm afraid we just can't be friends. It's an obvious classic. After finding out he's been left home alone, Kevin goes on a sugar-fueled rampage around his empty house. Having tired of rooting through his siblings' stuff and screaming the place down in classic annoying child fashion, he settles in with a bowl of ice cream bigger than his head and a videotape of the film Angels with Filthy Souls. We all know it. It's a black and white gangster job with trilby hats and Boston accents, and Kevin goes on to use the audio of the film to speak with and terrify the pizza delivery guy. More importantly though, later on he uses it to scare away the burglar Marv as he waits listening at the back door. And that's not the end for Angels with Filthy Souls though. No, there is a sequel. The film makes a reappearance in Home Alone 2 Alone in New York by way of a second installment named, I kid you not, Angels with Even Filthier Souls. It's another classic scene where Kevin uses the gangster's speech from the TV to trick hotel staff into leaving his room, believing that behind the wall they're speaking to an old man with a big gun. As they run to safety, leaving Kevin to escape through the back door, we get the infamous line straight from the mouths of Gangster Johnny and Little Kevin. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. Moving right along now, we're heading into number 2, with Burn After Reading and Coming Up Daisy. The Coen brothers' Burn After Reading follows the antics of 2 clueless gym employees who accidentally manage to get their hands on mysterious government information. One member of this duo is Linda Litsky, a self-conscious but chronically chatty character played by the wonderful Frances McDormand. A couple of times throughout the film, we see her attempts to find love through online dating, but instead of a Tinder hookup, it's a trip to the cinema and a cheeky bit of sushi. It has to be said, the girl has a formula, taking each of her dates to see the exact same film, which is incidentally what I did when Parasite came out. Coming Up Daisy appears to be a classic rom-com, ideal for Linda to judge whether her dates have the good sense of humour she's looking for. In fairness to her, it does seem to be a good litmus test for compatibility. Her first date has a chronic case of silent man syndrome and clearly can't take a joke. But when she gets around to seeing the handsome, mysterious Harry, played by George Clooney, we know they hit it off right away as they're cackling over their popcorn. And to finish off, we're taking it back to Tarantino for number 1, with Inglorious Bastards and Nation's Pride. Without saying too much, there's a lot of pretty significant events that happen surrounding this film and the cinema it's shown in. The film tells the story of Nazi war hero, if you could call him that, Friedrich Zoller, a man so narcissistic and unrelenting that he's earned himself a pretty top spot on my unbearable male characters list. In an effort to impress cinema owner Shoshona Dreyfus, known in Paris as Emmanuel Mumio, he invites himself to have a nice big Nazi film premiere right on her doorstep. Unfortunately for him, she is less than impressed. Unfortunately for her, he doesn't give up. To say the night goes well for anyone involved would just be plain wrong, but it would also be impossible for me to do justice to just how wrong it goes, without letting you just go and see it yourself. If I ever make a list of films with weirdly satisfying endings, it's definitely going to be on there. And that takes us to the end of our list of the best fake films hidden in your favourite movies. If we've missed any big ones out, let us know in the comments down below, and be sure to check out whatculture.com for more lists and articles like this every single day. I've been Amy from What Culture, and until next time, I'm going to go see if I can find some leaked episodes of Bounty Law.